The Pacific Ocean, vast and unpredictable, has become a chessboard where two of the world's most powerful nations play a dangerous game. The United States and China have been locked in a strategic competition for years, but in recent times, the tension has been growing at an alarming rate. At the heart of this standoff is the South China Sea, one of the most contested bodies of water in the world. It's not just about the waves and the open ocean, it's about power, control, and influence. China has been aggressively expanding its presence in the region, building artificial islands, installing military bases, and enforcing territorial claims far beyond what international law recognizes. The South China Sea is rich in resources, but more importantly, it's a major artery for global trade, with trillions of dollars worth of goods passing through its waters every year. This is why Beijing wants to control. It's about economic leverage, military dominance, and strategic positioning.
Well, we have new video coming to Fox News from the U.S. Pacific Fleet showing 3 U.S. Navy aircraft carriers off the Korean peninsula. The USS Ronald.
The United States, however, has a different view. It strongly believes in the principle of freedom of navigation, the idea that international waters should remain open to all nations. To reinforce this, the U.S. Navy frequently conducts what it calls freedom of navigation operations, FONOPs, where its warships sail through disputed waters to challenge excessive claims. These missions aren't just symbolic. They send a clear message to China and the rest of the world. The U.S. does not recognize China's broad claims over the South China Sea. But China doesn't just sit back and let the U.S. sail freely. It actively monitors these missions, often dispatching spy ships to follow U.S. Navy carrier groups, track their movements, and gather intelligence. These vessels are packed with state-of-the-art surveillance equipment capable of intercepting communications, analyzing radar signals, and studying the operational tactics of the U.S. military. While these encounters rarely lead to confrontation, they are intense, calculated, and filled with hidden messages. A massive U.S. aircraft carrier cuts through the open sea, its deck bustling with activity as fighter jets are prepped for missions and crew members carry out their daily tasks. The ship is on a routine patrol, part of its mission to maintain stability in the region. But something changes. An alert comes through. An unknown vessel has been detected on radar, moving parallel to the carrier group. It's getting closer. This isn't a random fishing boat or a lost commercial tanker. It's a Chinese surveillance ship, unmistakable in design and purpose. It keeps a steady distance, trailing the carrier, silently observing. The message is clear. We see you. We're watching. The U.S. Navy has encountered Chinese spy ships before, and the pattern is always the same. These vessels don't engage, but they don't leave either. They lurk just close enough to pick up intelligence, hoping to gather any valuable information they can. On board the carrier, the bridge crew is already in high alert mode. Radar operators analyze the incoming data, calculating the ship's trajectory, speed, and possible intent. They relay real-time information to command, while intelligence officers start cross-referencing known Chinese naval assets. If this is a surveillance mission, what exactly are they looking for? Are they studying the carrier's flight patterns, testing its electronic defense systems, or simply trying to provoke a reaction? Electronic warfare specialists are also at work, listening carefully. Every transmission, every radio frequency pinged by the spy ship is recorded and analyzed. These specialists are trained to detect subtle changes, an unusual radar signature, an unexpected burst of communication, or anything that might indicate a new tactic or an upgraded capability in China's surveillance technology. The carrier's systems are designed to resist electronic eavesdropping, but the presence of the spy ship still presents a risk. The tension isn't just technical, it's psychological. For the crew, knowing they're being watched adds an extra layer of pressure. The fighter pilots on deck, the radar technicians in the operations room, even the officers making strategic decisions. They all know that their actions could be under scrutiny. This isn't just about intelligence gathering, It's about control. The Chinese ship is asserting its presence, testing the U.S. Navy's patience and its ability to handle these encounters with precision. Despite the growing tension, the carrier group doesn't alter its course. The mission continues as planned, but every movement is calculated, every maneuver deliberate. The Chinese ship remains in its shadow, a silent but constant reminder that in this game of cat and mouse, no move goes unnoticed. The decision is made. Communication must be established. The carrier's communication officer steps forward, adjusting the frequency to an internationally recognized maritime channel. The message is sent in a calm, authoritative voice.
This is the United States Navy. You are approaching a U.S. military vessel in international waters. Please identify yourself and state your intentions.
A long silence follows. The crew waits, watching the radar screen, monitoring any response. Seconds stretch into minutes. Then, at last, a response crackles through the radio. The voice is in Mandarin, with a slightly distorted quality due to distance and signal interference. The Chinese ship identifies itself but offers little else. The words are vague and carefully chosen, neither aggressive nor cooperative. On the bridge, the officers exchange glances. This is expected. The Chinese rarely give away much in these situations. The goal is to be present, to make their point, but never to escalate into outright confrontation. Still, the lack of transparency adds to the unease. The U.S. commander decides to reinforce the message.
Prosecutors say Wei, a sailor aboard the USS Essex, sent a Chinese spy details about the defense and weapons capabilities of U.S. Navy ships, as well as information on ships.
Chinese vessel, this is the United States Navy. We are conducting lawful operations in international waters. We request that you maintain a safe distance and avoid any actions that could be misinterpreted as hostile.
For the crew, the stakes are high. A wrong move, a misinterpretation, or even an unexpected mechanical failure could turn this tense but controlled standoff into a real crisis. The carrier's fighter jets remain on standby, ready to launch at a moment's notice if the situation escalates. The destroyers accompanying the carrier subtly adjust their formation, ensuring they can respond to any sudden maneuver from the Chinese ship.
The first time in 10 years that 3 U.S. aircraft carriers have done so. Now, the 3 ships will remain together off the peninsula for another 4 days. The USS Ronald Reagan.
The U.S. Navy isn't just sitting back and watching as a Chinese spy ship trails its aircraft carrier. If the Chinese are gathering intelligence, the U.S. is doing the same. Every movement of the surveillance vessel is tracked, every radio transmission is analyzed, and every electronic signal is decoded. It's a chess game, and both sides are playing carefully. High above the ocean, the carrier's E-2 Hawkeye early warning aircraft launches into the sky. This airborne command center, with its unmistakable rotating radar dome, scans the horizon, searching for other vessels or aircraft that might be operating in coordination with the spy ship. It can detect and track hundreds of targets simultaneously at ranges exceeding 350 nautical miles. Nothing escapes its sight. The Hawkeye relays real-time data back to the carrier's Combat Information Center, where intelligence specialists compare the findings with existing data on Chinese naval activity. Electronic warfare teams are also at work, monitoring the spy ship's emissions. Every radar frequency, every communication signal, and every electronic pulse is analyzed. These specialists are trained to detect patterns, what kind of radar the ship is using, how often it's sending transmissions, and whether it's scanning the carrier group's defenses. If the spy ship tries to mask its signals or use encrypted communication, the U.S. analysts take note. The information they gather will help in future encounters, providing insights into China's evolving naval tactics. The intelligence collection doesn't stop there. Sailors with high-powered optical and infrared cameras are stationed along the deck, capturing images and video footage of the spy ship. Any modifications or new equipment spotted on board could reveal advancements in Chinese surveillance technology. Even the smallest details, an unfamiliar antenna, an altered hull design, could provide valuable information. This game of observation and counter-observation is played out in near silence. The crew goes about their tasks, the aircraft carrier continues on its course, and the Chinese spy ship remains at a calculated distance. Neither side makes a provocative move, but both are fully engaged in a quiet battle of intelligence. Even the way the U.S. Navy operates is part of the strategy. Certain maneuvers may be carried out in a way that limits what the spy ship can observe. Sensitive exercises might be postponed or conducted at night when surveillance is more difficult. Electronic emissions might be adjusted using strict emissions control MCON procedures to minimize the amount of data the spy ship can collect. It's all part of a calculated response, gathering as much information as possible while revealing as little as necessary. The Chinese ship may be watching, but the U.S. Navy is watching right back. Every encounter like this adds to the intelligence database, helping military analysts predict and counter China's next move. Nothing happens without being noticed, and every piece of data gathered strengthens the U.S. position in the ongoing power struggle of the Pacific. The ocean is vast, but at this moment, it feels like a small battlefield. The Chinese spy ship maintains its position, closely following the aircraft carrier and its escorting warships. It's not making any aggressive moves, but it isn't backing off either. It's waiting, watching, gathering information. The message is clear. We are here, and we are not leaving. The U.S. Navy isn't in the business of being intimidated. The aircraft carrier might be the centerpiece of the fleet, but it isn't alone. Without warning, the roar of jet engines fills the sky as a squadron of F/A-18 Super Hornet fighter jets launches from the carrier's deck. The sleek warplanes accelerate into formation, cutting through the sky in a show of force. They don't lock onto the spy ship with weapons, and they don't perform any threatening maneuvers, but their presence is more than enough to send a message. The aircraft carrier is not just a massive floating airfield, it's a symbol of military dominance, and it has the firepower to back it up. At the same time, the guided missile destroyers escorting the carrier subtly shift their positions. They spread out, creating a defensive formation that ensures they can respond instantly to any escalation. The destroyers are armed with advanced missile systems capable of neutralizing threats from air, sea, or underwater. Their mere presence is enough to remind the spy ship that any hostile move would be met with overwhelming force. The Chinese vessel doesn't react much. It slows slightly but remains at a close distance, continuing its surveillance. The U.S. forces know this tactic well. The spy ship isn't here to start a conflict. It's here to collect as much intelligence as possible, testing how the U.S. Navy operates in real-world conditions. It wants to see the response time, the formation changes, and the level of coordination between ships and aircraft. Despite the risk, the U.S. Navy continues its mission without interruption. The carrier group remains focused on its primary objectives, whether that's conducting training exercises, enforcing freedom of navigation, or simply patrolling international waters. The message is clear. The United States Navy will not be deterred. The Chinese ship continues to linger, but the U.S. response has made its point. There is no panic, no hesitation, just a display of strength, professionalism, and readiness. The balance of power on the open sea remains, for now, unchanged. While the standoff unfolds on the water, another battle is taking place in diplomatic offices thousands of miles away. In Washington, D.C., officials at the State Department closely monitor the situation, reviewing intelligence reports and staying in constant contact with military commanders in the Pacific. Every movement of the Chinese spy ship is analyzed, and every response is carefully considered. A public statement is prepared, reinforcing the U.S. commitment to freedom of navigation and international law. The world is watching, and the U.S. wants to ensure that its position is clear. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.